A group of hikers were making their way along a desert trail at night, each holding a flashlight as they moved through the darkness. At one point, they stopped to take a break. One of them pulled out a camera and took a photo of the group standing together under the night sky. Just a memory to look back on later. But when they later uploaded the photos from the trip, one of them noticed this. Behind them, a dark, childlike figure could be seen, standing just a short distance away. No one remembered anyone being there. They tried to explain it as a shadow, but the shape, the details, even what looked like faint eyes didn't match any normal shadow cast by light. So what was really standing behind them that night? Could something sinister have happened at that exact location? A person out enjoying a day on their rural property in Brazil noticed something walking calmly across the land in broad daylight and started recording. As the figure moved closer into view, whatever it was didn't match any known animal. Many claimed it could be proof of a werewolf, a creature long tied to local legends. Others suggested it might be computer-generated, pointing to small inconsistencies in lighting and movement. Interestingly, when the footage was run through several AI analysis tools, it was considered authentic. But even that doesn't fully explain what's being seen. So was it just an animal, perhaps affected by a disease, or was something unknown walking across that property? A 2-year-old boy named Bowden Allen wandered away from his home in Seligman, Arizona on April 14, 2025. The area around him was remote, surrounded by open desert and dangerous wildlife. As soon as he was reported missing, a large search operation began. More than 40 rescuers, along with a helicopter, searched through the night. But for hours, there was no sign of him. Then, about 16 hours later, a rancher made a surprising discovery on his property, roughly 7 miles from where the boy had disappeared. The child was there, and nearby was a large ranch dog named Buford. Buford, an Anatolian Pyrenees known for protecting the land from predators, had found the boy. According to the rancher, the dog located Bowden under a tree and stayed with him, even guiding him for part of the journey back towards safety. Some estimates suggest the dog may have accompanied him for at least a mile. The boy had spent the entire night alone in the desert, but incredibly, he was found alive, thanks to Buford. On May 27, 2025, Red V22 went hiking in Church Rock with her dog Cooper while live streaming on TikTok. As they continued walking, strange sounds began echoing in the distance. Suddenly, the dog bolted into the trees without warning.
Get him, Cooper.
The TikToker followed its movement with the camera, trying to figure out what had caused it to run off so fast. Not long after, they decided to end the stream and leave the area. Did the dog react to a wild animal nearby, or something else? Let's hope they found their dog. A group of men were hiking through the desert at night, using flashlights to guide their way across the rocky terrain. Not long into the hike, one of them snapped a photo for Instagram, then continued on, unaware of what they had just captured. But when they later uploaded the image to Instagram, they noticed it. Behind a Joshua tree, a pale figure, with what appeared to be 2 glowing eyes. The discovery left them shaken, wondering who or what had been watching them from the darkness, and how close they may have come to a dangerous situation. Whatever was out there remains unknown, but was enough to make sure they wouldn't be hiking that desert again anytime soon. This person was on a safari in Africa. While staying at her lodge, something truly terrifying happened. A group of tourists were sitting in a safari truck, ready to head out, when suddenly a massive elephant stepped out in front of them. Before anyone could react, the elephant charged. Panic broke out inside the vehicle as the animal slammed into the truck. Again and again it attacked. Finally, the driver managed to create some distance, backing away and escaping the situation. Thankfully, no one was hurt. A 13-year-old girl named Christina Marie Plant from Arizona was last seen in May 1994. She was walking away from her home, reportedly heading toward a nearby horse stable where she kept her horse. After that, she disappeared. A major search was launched at the time, but no trace of her was ever found. Eventually, the case went cold and remained that way for decades. Then, many years later, something unexpected happened. Christina was found alive in 2026, at the age of 44. Authorities confirmed her identity using modern investigative methods that helped reopen and finally resolve the long cold case. However, the circumstances behind her disappearance were not what many might assume from online speculation. Later reporting suggested this was not a classic abduction mystery, but likely linked to a complicated family situation from the time, with her identity only fully confirmed decades later. Still, for over 30 years, she was completely off the radar. And for those who followed the case back then, it remains a story that raises one question. How does someone disappear into life itself and stay hidden for so long? On February 26th, a photo was shared on the mysterious creature's Facebook page that quickly drew attention. It was posted by a man named Matt Moneymaker, who suggested it could be possible evidence of a Bigfoot sighting in South Dakota. The image shows a dark, upright figure standing in the middle of a vast, empty landscape. It could simply be a person seen from a distance, but commenters argued the build and posture don't quite match an ordinary human. What do you think? A group was enjoying a walking safari in Zimbabwe when something suddenly changed. They noticed a lion behaving strangely. It had locked onto the group, watching them closely. The guide immediately picked up on it and instructed everyone to stay still and keep their distance. Slowly, the lion began to approach.
Uh-oh.
The tension in the air was undeniable. That's when the guide told them to stop recording.
Okay, turn off the cameras now. Concentrate.
Fortunately, the footage was later uploaded, so we can assume they made it out safely. But in a moment like that, things can turn deadly in seconds. On the evening of April 24th, 1964, police officer Lonnie Zamora was on patrol near Socorro, New Mexico, when a routine moment suddenly turned into something far more unusual. At around 5:45 p.m., he was chasing a speeding car along a quiet desert road when a loud roar filled the air. Moments later, he saw a flame in the distance. Thinking it might be an explosion, possibly from a nearby dynamite shack, Zamora abandoned the chase and drove toward it. As he approached, the terrain forced him up a rough incline. When he reached a clearer view, he noticed something unusual about 150 to 200 yards away. At first, he thought it was an overturned car, but as he got closer, he realized it wasn't a vehicle at all. It was a smooth metallic object, oval-shaped, almost egg-like, resting near the ground. Beside it stood two small figures dressed in white coveralls. They appeared startled, as if they hadn't expected to be seen. Zamora quickly radioed dispatched and stepped out of his vehicle. Then, suddenly, the roar returned. A bright blue and orange flame burst from beneath the object. Fearing it might explode, Zamora took cover behind his patrol car, but kept watching. The object lifted off the ground, rose into the air, and then quickly disappeared into the distance. When another officer arrived shortly after, they found scorched brush and marks on the ground, but no clear footprints or tracks beyond Zamora's. The case was later investigated by the US Air Force as part of Project Blue Book and officially classified as unknown. A man working as a machine operator was on a late shift when something unexpected happened at his workplace. The machine he was operating suddenly broke down, leaving him alone in complete darkness. As he tried to figure out what to do, he began hearing a whistling sound. Unsettled, he kept recording, trying to stay calm as the noise continued in the silence. When he later uploaded the footage online looking for answers, some suggested it could be a nocturnal bird, like a patoo, known for its eerie, human-like calls. But others pointed to something far darker, linking it to the Latin American legend of El Silbón, an entity said to roam at night, marked by a chilling whistle that confuses those who hear it. So what was really out there with him in the darkness? On June 22nd, 2023, a woman was hiking in Church Rock with her daughter when the atmosphere around them suddenly changed. The area was already known for strange stories and local legends, but what they experienced left them shaken. As they walked along the hillside, they began hearing distant screams echoing through the landscape.
A child like screaming or crying, and I'm not like...
At first, it sounded like a child crying, high-pitched and unsettling. Then, moments later, they heard something even more disturbing. A man's voice, screaming. Panic set in. Without hesitation, they turned around and made their way back down the hill as quickly as they could. They didn't stay to find out what was making those sounds. And whatever was out there, they never saw it. While out in the desert, a person noticed something disturbing and quickly took this photo. In the image, a strange black figure can be seen standing in the landscape. The shape appears humanoid, with unusually long arms, seemingly moving on all fours. Some believe it could be evidence of an unknown cryptid, something not yet documented. But what makes this photo suspicious is the lack of information behind it. There's no clear origin, no verified source, and no confirmation of where or when it was taken, which raises another possibility, that it could simply be AI generated or an elaborate hoax. So what are we really looking at here? A person was driving through a desert-like area when something unusual caught their attention in the sky. They noticed a dark swirling column floating high above the ground. It looked similar to a tornado. It was pitch black. And unlike a normal tornado, it wasn't touching the ground. It didn't move like smoke. It didn't behave like the wind. There are no clear answers to what it was, or where it appeared. A group of friends were out at night when something unusual appeared in the sky. Curious, they decided to follow it, eventually reaching a quiet desert area. It didn't take long before the object began to descend. When it landed, they moved closer instead of backing away. That's when they noticed something near it, a figure they believed was a grey alien. At first it seemed small, but as they approached, the figure began to move, and slowly stood up.
Miren amigos, miren amigos. Mira, güey, sí lo estás agarrando, mames. Sí. Se está moviendo, se está moviendo. Sí. Vente. No mames, güey, mira, güey. Mira, güey. Amigos, ¿cómo le hablamos a estos güeyes? No mames, ¿qué hacen? Ay, no mames, vete a la verga, güey. ¿Qué es esa mamá?
It was much larger than they expected. The group stopped, unsure of what they were actually looking at, and ran off. Now it's up to you whether you believe it or not. A long-buried human body was discovered in Chile's Atacama Desert, one of the driest places on Earth. The remains, uncovered by researchers and explorers studying the region, were dated to around 5000 BC. What shocked them wasn't just the age, but the condition. Skin still clung to the body, hair was visible, even fragments of clothing remained intact after thousands of years. At first glance, it almost didn't look real. But there's an explanation. The Atacama Desert is so dry, the decay slows to a near stop. Instead of decomposing, bodies can naturally mummify, drying out before bacteria have a chance to break them down. In some cases, ancient cultures in the region, like the Chinchorro, even preserved their dead intentionally. Still, seeing a human body last this long in such a recognizable state feels almost impossible. Time, in places like this, doesn't seem to move the way we expect. An explorer was hiking in a remote desert area when he reached the edge of a deep cave below him. From inside, strange growling sounds echoed upward. As he recorded, he pointed into the darkness, trying to locate where the sound was coming from. The area is known to be home to bears, so it could simply be wildlife moving through the cave system. Or do you think the sounds don't quite match anything familiar? Reddit user Bortaki34 shared something unusual. Gravediggers in Turkey reportedly began uncovering strange objects inside graves during their work in a cemetery. According to the post, some of these items were placed alongside the dead, wrapped materials, animal remains, and even everyday objects like spoons. The gravediggers claimed they'd come across dozens of similar findings over time, suggesting it wasn't just a one-time occurrence. Some believe these objects could be linked to local spiritual or cultural practices, meant to protect or influence the dead. Others think they're simply misunderstood burial customs or remnants of older traditions. But they all seem to agree on one thing. Whatever they are, it's better not to touch them. A clip surfaced showing what appears to be a heavy mosquito infestation in an unknown desert location. The air itself seems to be filled with swarms of insects gathering in overwhelming numbers. In recent years, similar outbreaks have been reported more frequently, raising concerns about what might be driving the increase. People point to climate shifts, urban expansion, and changes in local ecosystems as possible reasons behind the growing spread of insect populations. But without any clear information, it's hard to say anything for sure. On March 30th, 2026, a video was shared on Instagram by a creator known as HORRIFYING, recorded in an open field at night. As the recording continues, a strange shape becomes visible in the distance. It appears human-like, but something about it doesn't feel natural. Moments later, the footage ends as the person quickly leaves the area, and the recording remains a mystery. A hiker was out in the desert when he found something mind-blowing. The person recording initially assumed it was simply a reflection in water far below. But as they got a better look, there appeared to be a perfectly clear image of the sky, almost as if it was being seen from another angle entirely. It couldn't have been just a normal reflection, as the rope doesn't appear where it should on a mirrored surface. Maybe it was an optical illusion, or even just editing. But if it wasn't any of that, what would it mean? What could be on the other side? A group of mountain climbers were high up on Antuco volcano in Chile when something unusual appeared in the sky above them. They noticed a bright, shiny object suspended motionless over the horizon. It didn't seem to move, didn't resemble any aircraft they recognized. Many called it a UFO, saying nothing in conventional aviation matched what they were seeing that day. Honestly, I have no clear explanation for what they saw that day. So what do you think it was? I want to share an update about the case of Nancy Guthrie. More than 2 months after her disappearance, new messages have surfaced, and they're raising concern. On April 6th, 2 new alleged ransom notes were sent to a media outlet by an unknown sender. In these messages, the person claimed to know where Nancy's body is, and even who was responsible for her disappearance. They demanded payment in Bitcoin for exchange for that information, but provided no proof to support their claims. In another message, the same sender claimed Nancy had been seen alive in Sonora, Mexico. The conflicting details only added more confusion. What's especially unsettling is the timing. These messages were sent the same day Nancy's daughter, Savannah Guthrie, returned to television after stepping away to help search for her mother. A former FBI agent has since weighed in, suggesting the messages may not be real at all, but instead sent to deliberately torment the family. Authorities have not confirmed the authenticity of any of these notes and continue to treat them with caution. With no verified leads and conflicting claims, the question remains, are these messages coming from someone who knows the truth, or someone taking advantage of a family's worst nightmare? Ksar Draa is an isolated structure located in the Sahara near Timimon, Algeria. The structure sits alone in the desert, surrounded by vast dunes. From above, it appears almost circular in shape, rising from the sand like an old fortified settlement. Its exact origin and purpose are not clearly documented in widely accessible historical records. Some interpretations describe Ksar in the region as traditional fortified villages or caravan-related structures used for storage, shelter, or protection along desert trade routes. There are also discussions about historical population changes in the region, including possible past occupation by different communities, but these claims are not definitively established for this specific site. Because of the limited documentation, there is still no confirmed consensus on when it was built or what its original function was. What remains is a structure that clearly shows human design, but whose full story is still not fully known. On an excavation site near the ancient harbour of Failron, just outside Athens, Greece, archaeologists uncovered a burial site that immediately stood out. Dozens of skeletons, around 80 in total, were found buried together in long rows. What made the discovery especially disturbing was that many of them were still bound in iron shackles around their wrists. The remains were dated back to around 650 to 625 BC, a time of political unrest in ancient Athens. Analysis shows that many of the individuals were young and in good physical condition, suggesting they were not typical prisoners or the sick, but likely people executed under unusual circumstances. One leading theory is that they were followers of Cylon, an Olympic athlete who attempted a coup in Athens around 632 BC. According to ancient historians, the rebellion failed, and his supporters were captured and executed, possibly after being promised safe passage. However, there is no definitive proof linking these skeletons directly to that event. Researchers caution that while the timing fits, historical records from that period are limited and incomplete. So while the shackles suggest imprisonment or execution, their true identity remains unknown. Who these people were, why they were killed, and what exactly happened at that site is still a mystery more than 2,600 years later. On the night of November 26, 2024, a photographer and explorer from the YouTube channel Alex Bugs Morentes, based out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, made his way out to Yassau, New Mexico, a nearly deserted town sitting off a remote highway. After spending hours exploring empty buildings, he parked his van in the middle of town and went to sleep. For a while, everything was quiet. But sometime in the middle of the night, he suddenly woke up.
Something woke me up. I heard, I think, sounded like footsteps. I'm not sure if that's what woke me up. I put on my pants and my shoes, just for in case. I was asleep. I got all my windows closed. I got this light here, but I don't know if they can see it. But I certainly heard footsteps. Something woke me up. I'm not sure what it was. Oh, fuck. Just for in case.
At first, he wasn't sure why. Then he heard footsteps.
Oh shit, I heard the footsteps again. Looks like they went to the back. What the fuck? Okay. Somebody's definitely outside. I don't think I'm gonna stay here. Honestly, I end up shooting somebody. Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? There's somebody inside. Son of a bitch. I don't even know if I'm gonna go outside.
He stayed still, listening as the sound shifted from one side to the other. Whoever was out there didn't speak, didn't knock, just kept walking.
Who is it? Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm coming outside, man. Just so you know, I'm armed. I'm opening the door. Who's there? I don't see anybody. Fuck. What the fuck? Anybody there? Hello? Maybe they went inside that schoolhouse. Okay. It's time for me to go. The sound was coming from this side, from the driver's side. Okay, I think I'm gonna head to Vaughn.
After a moment, he stepped outside to check, but the instant he opened the door, the footsteps stopped. No one was there. Some believe it could have been a person wandering in from the outskirts of town, maybe curious, maybe not alone. Others think it's strange how the sounds vanished the second he looked, in a place that's supposed to be empty. So what was walking around his van that night, and where did it go? For more desert encounters, watch this next video.